Hi guys, and welcome to this tutorial on Dangar Falls. This is a waterfall that is located just outside of Dorrigo, which is up in the hills above Coffs Harbour. As you can see, the image on the left is pretty raw. When you look at that image, you think, well, there's not really much. What can I do to that? And that's exactly what I thought when I saw it. I really loved the composition and the actual scene, but the actual light that I captured was pretty average, and that was mainly due to the amount of fog that was coming down through there. It tended to make everything look fairly flat. So I wanted to sort of try and increase the colour and the contrast and create an image that sort of was usable. Anyway, the one on the right, I like it. It's fairly gritty, but it's sort of got an old world sort of old-fashioned look about it, sort of like an old painting. And I wasn't sure that was what I was looking for at the time, but as I progressed through the photoshopping of it, it sort of became sort of more evident that that's how it was going to turn out. Anyway, I'll get on with the tutorial and I'll show you exactly how I got that result. So first thing I'll do is bring up my bring up bridge, and I'll show you the image. This is the image here that I used. Obviously, you can see these are the ones straight from the camera. This one I've obviously made a few changes, mainly being white balance and a bit of clarity and stuff like that. So I'll open it up and you can see what I've done. The color temperature is on 7400, which is basically just a little bit back from shade. Shade being my favorite white balance, as everyone knows. It's sort of on these sort of days when it's overcast or rainy or whatever, shade always seems to work pretty well. But then it's not, the general rule. I mean, you don't have to always use it, but I tend to use it a fair bit, and that's why a lot of my images come out a bit warmer than they used to in the past. Tint, I'm not sure if I don't think I've adjusted the tint. You can see the exposures come up a little bit. Brightness, contrast, put a bit of contrast in there, clarity, just to try and sort of make it a little bit more interesting straight up, just to try and get a little bit of life into it. I mean, you can go to town on your adjustments in Camera Raw, but I tend to just do a few basic things. Just looking through here, you can see that I've brought the highlights up, the lights a little bit, and the darks, and I've just taken the shadows down. That's basically trying to increase a bit of contrast throughout. The other thing that I may have done is something to do with the saturation. No, I haven't. Now I'm just trying to remember what I've done because I did this image up a while ago, so it's not like I can really remember exactly what it was I did. And this is the problem with Photoshop. Well, actually, the good thing about Photoshop is that you don't always get the same result. You can go back and do the same image a week later, and you'll come up with a different result because you may have forgotten exactly what it was you did. And I tend to forget things pretty quickly. It must be something to do with my age. Anyway, that's pretty much all the adjustments I would do. Down the bottom here, you can see that we've got these settings here. Important to make a note of these. I convert everything to ProPhoto RGB, and then from there, I then convert it to Joseph Holmes Decam 3 profile that I use, and that's the reason I go from ProPhoto is because it's got the largest color gamut, and then Decam 3 will fit within that. So you don't want to go from a small gamut and try and then go into a bigger gamut because you're just not going to get the color because it's not there in the first place. Always make sure it's in 16-bit as opposed to 8-bit. Some people just use 8-bit and that's fine, but 16-bit gives you so many more levels of brightness and the ability to fool around with your image without sort of bruising the pixels too much. And this image in particular has had a lot of fooling around done with it, so it's almost illegal the amount of fooling around that's been done to this thing. Now, also the size, I obviously go for the maximum size. That's the native size. Don't go bigger, don't go smaller. Always set my resolution to 250, but look, they say with the Canon printer you should print. I think the DPI should be 300, but I don't ever worry about any of that sort of stuff. Okay, so click OK, make sure that's right, and then we just open the image. Now I don't need to do that because I've already done it anyway. So next thing is I'll bring up the actual image, and here it is here. This is how it would open up in Photoshop, and as you can see, it's pretty basic. Now I've done all the working outs here, and I'll just go through them step by step, and you see how we panned out. Okay, so the first one I did is add a black and white layer. You can see up here, this is all the amounts I've done. I've fooled around with the reds and the yellows and the greens and the cyans and the blues. I didn't touch the magentas, so you probably could touch those just for a bit of fun, but I didn't anyway. And you can see now I've changed the blend mode to multiply. If obviously it was in normal, then it'd just be a normal black and white. So that's what the black and white looked like before I changed to multiply. And by adjusting all these sliders around, you can change the look, you can brightness or darkness of the image sort of thing. Now I can't remember where that one was. Okay, doesn't matter. It's all good. So the good thing about using all these different layers is that you can go in and adjust them, and in one particular layer that I've put here, I've actually gone back later on and changed the opacity back a little bit, so I'll show you that a bit later. So that's the black and white. That's the first thing I did. I looked at the image initially and thought, well, how's the levels? Well, look, I've got whites that are going to probably blow out a little bit. I try my best not to have them blow out, but every now and then in this particular image, they sort of blow a little bit. Or they're a bit blown from the start, if you know what I'm saying. Next thing is, well, I need to get some colour into this image. I've got that sort of grittiness that I like, so the black and white has given me that sort of bit of contrast. It's sort of cut through you can see it's cut through the fog. Next thing is to add a colour fill. So I've added this colour fill, which is basically sort of a browny sort of colour. You can go in there and adjust that to your heart's content to adjust. Once it's all set, you can just go in and find the colour you want. You can just go crazy. You can make it whatever. You get the idea. The thing with this layer, you want to then change your blend mode to soft light. That's what I'm on. If it was on normal, it would come in as normal. It's a colour fill. So down here you would find solid colour. Okay, that's what that is. You go in, you pick a colour, whatever colour you want to start off with, and then go in and change it down to soft light. And once you're in soft light, then it's good to double click on that and fool around and find whatever colour it is you wanted. It changes the image. Anyway, I've just gone for that. So that's a rough sort of idea. The next thing is a levels adjustment, and this has basically, you can see I've just lightened up around the waterfall, but I'm trying to avoid these areas here because I didn't want them to be blown out anymore. So I've just on the layer mask here, you can see where I've done the rubbing away to sort of lighten things up. And obviously I always keep it a little bit off the edge because it's nice to have that sort of vignetted sort of look to draw your eye in. So that's how that works. Now, obviously, one of the guys asked me how did I get the mask up to show. It's the back arrow key on your keyboard. You can toggle that on and off, and it's a pretty cool way of seeing where your mask is. And then you can go in afterwards, and you can select your brush tool and go in and rub it away or add or whatever, sort of like that. Okay, you can put a bit more in here, and you can see what you're doing. So that's that levels adjustment. Then the next thing I did was add a color balance adjustment layer, and you can see in this color balance here I've just added I've taken a bit of red out and added a bit of blue just to sort of change the color balance. It was sort of just fooling around with the figures, you can get so many different options, so you can really go crazy again. So it's the way I work is it's all pretty much by eye. I just look at it, and if it looks good on the screen and I haven't damaged any of the pixels, then that's what I go with. Again, the blend mode on this color balance is set to soft light. So if it was normal, then you can see what it's done there. But soft light tends to increase the contrast as well. Next thing I've done is I've added another levels adjustment, and you can see with that levels adjustment I've just gone through, lightened up through here, through there. I'll show you the mask. Hang on, I'm on the wrong one. There we go. Show you the mask, so you can see where I've just gone and lightened up some of the areas just to add a bit more um, effect. So you can see it when I turn it on and off. Just adds a bit more sort of thickness to the water, and to the fog as well up here. Makes it a little bit more foggy looking. That's just on a normal blend mode, and yeah, it's all good. Next thing was a hue saturation, and what I wanted to do, I wanted the water to be a bit more um, waterish. You know, the colours are a little bit on the orangey yellow side, and water doesn't generally isn't sort of like that. So, and that would have been because of the colour fills and the colour balance and all that sort of stuff. So I've gone in and I've made a hue saturation adjustment. You can see it here, and I've gone to the yellows and taken 55% out of the yellows just to bring that down. Obviously, again, I've masked it off, and you can see, whoops, I've actually made a bit of a blue there. I could probably fix that up, but again, I go by eye. There's a few little bits there that probably could be fixed up, but you know, I can't really see them in the actual final image, so I wouldn't worry about it. But if you're picky and you know, really want to get that nth degree, then go for it. Next is a levels adjustment, and that was just basically to add a bit more light in, make the fog up here appear to be more rich and thick and have more light coming through it, and just lighten up through the falls there a bit. So again, you can see where I've sort of masked and done stuff to it. So yeah, it's pretty much just lightened up the areas that I wanted to give it a bit of a general rub over. Again, using your eye to visualize. And then the last levels is just basically for the water, because there was a bit of a banding going on down the bottom there, so I've just darkened that. And that's pretty much it. I've also adjusted the opacity a little bit on that because I wanted to bring it back from completely black. And that's pretty much how I got the image. And as you can see, when you go back, it's yeah, it's a huge difference. But just from those layer adjustments, you can yeah, you can create an image that's, you know, quite striking. So anyway, so what we'll do now is we'll, as I did in the previous tutorial, I'll just go through and show you how I will sharpen it for the web. So we go in, we'll flatten the image now, and what I do is I go Option Command I, and then I don't adjust the resolution, I just adjust the height to 2200 pixels. Click return. Now obviously if it was wide, it'd be 2200 pixels wide. Then I might just zoom in a little bit there, and I go to Filter, Sharpen, and then I hit Command F, which applies the filter twice. So you can see it looks pretty sharp now, like really sharp, but that's okay because we want that to happen. And from there we go Command Option I again, which is image size box. Change the height now to 900 pixels wide. Click OK, and there it is, all sharpened, ready to go for the web. And that's how I do my sharpening. And from there, I showed you last time, I've got a action here in my action set, which is a blog template, which I made up to this little one here. So as before, if you want a copy of this action set I've got, it's got some okay little ones that I've just made up myself. Things like 16-bit to 8-bit, which is a kind of a quick and easy, like let's convert this image to 8-bit because it's pain going up from going, you know, image mode, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. And a few other bits and pieces, resizing for the web. This one here is the one I use for anyone that submits to Australia stock photos. It's sharpen and saturate, basically, and that's for the web. The other ones are not mine, obviously. So anyway, I go into this action set, click on Save, not Save Raw to Desktop, sorry. That's for when I'm opening up an image from Camera Raw and I want to save it to the desktop, and then these are for when I'm stitching images, and then those individual images, they get saved to the desktop, and then they go into PTGUI, and I stitch them together, and then I just discard them off to the desktop after I've finished. So that's a quick and easy one for doing that. But we want to go to this one, blog template vertical. You click on that and just press the play button, and it comes up with this thing saying, load an image sort of thing, open an image, and I just cancel that. Gives you that box. You grab your image, which is not resized properly for this template, and just click all the OKs, yeah, whatever, and whack it in there, and you can see it's not the right size. I don't know how I got the measurements, but it's good because it's all adjustable. You can see over here, we just got to click on the grey box there, hit Command T, which is your transform, bring this in like so, bring that in there like so, hit return, and then I'll hit F to get hitting F on the keyboard changes your view obviously. C is your crop tool, making sure that there's nothing in there. I'll just go in and just crop this down a little bit just to make it sort of the right shape. This is rough as guts, okay, so I would normally go a little bit better than this. And then with this color here, you can change that. Double click on the box in the layer there, and find a color that matches or suits. I just usually click around inside, find a good color, and wherever it might be. And if I'm happy, I just click OK. And the same for the black box if I wanted to change that to a slightly different color, which is, ooh, that's horrible, isn't it? Yuck. And that's pretty horrible as well. But you get the idea. You can go in and change the colors to make it something so the colors suit. And if you like that, click OK. Obviously, you type your text over the top, whatever it might be. And if your text is the wrong color, you can always change that. So there, yeah, there's the text. That's what that's called in some really strange language, probably from Mars or something like that. Okay, and that's it. Flatten it, and off it goes to the web. So that's pretty much the end of the tutorial. If you have any questions, definitely send me an email. If you want the action set, let me know that you want that. And I'll keep doing these tutorials as I get images that are a little bit sort of more challenging, and to show you how I work them out. Yeah, so look, if you are looking for all my tutorials, they're going to be on my new blog, which is christianfletchertraining.wordpress.com, and that's where they'll all be. But that is linked from my main blog, so if you go to my main blog, you can get it there. And yeah, that's it. Great, guys. Thanks for tuning in.